across the country that
Mhm.
churches have kind of lost some of their influence over communities.
Well,
Is
I
that the
think that a
same?
lot of people see that churches are businesses too. I mean, you had 150, religious leaders stand up and say, "Oh, they want to support Duggan for governor,"
Yeah.
so they're abandoning a party that they have been had allegiance to for generations. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's sending a signal. People are going where the money is. I mean, they are, and I remember being in a meeting with some of our religious leaders while in the mayor's office, and the conversation is very different. It's not There are not a lot of people that are there should be a separation of church and state. And you've got, God on one side and money on the other. And those lines have been blurred a lot. And
Mhm.
so, you've got the tax protection, they don't pay taxes. They've got all this. It's a business. Is it a business?
Well, and they're becoming developers now too. I mean,
I
they're
understand
working
that
on housing
because
projects and
schools,
yeah.
all this stuff. Why? Because there's money in it.
Mhm.
That's another conversation, Malachi.
Yeah, I'm trying to better understand that because I think it's something worth diving into more. I want to talk about your experience in past mayoral
Mhm,
administrations and how we should be thinking about, the departments, the various departments, and
mhm.
kind of the mechanics of how the city does things. What departments are kind of most important for you? Like, where do you see the mayor should really be focusing their time and using those, official kind of resources to do things?
Well, attitude and performance are a reflection of leadership. So the mayor is going to set the tone for all of the departments, regardless. And I think that they're all important. I think when either staffing or redoing your appointees, your cabinet, and all, I think loyalty is always the first thing in politics. I mean, it is. I think people that understand what it means to be an appointee, regardless of which department you're heading, makes all the difference in the world. I remember seeing some civil servants that were put into appointee positions. That doesn't work.
Mhm.
You can't because the thinking is different. And to understand what it is that this administration, the next administration wants to accomplish, and what does the mayor think the best way is to do that. Now, they've got to surround themselves with people that have a skill set to make up for their deficiencies. There's not a candidate that's running that can do everything.
Mhm.
But I think loyalty is important. I think having a mayor who's willing to listen and then make a decision. I think accountability is also very important because I've seen that have a negative impact as well.
Yeah, I hear a lot from voters that they want somebody with integrity,
Mhm.
someone that will not fall into scandal and embarrass the city, in the newspapers.
Well, but let's take that one for 1 second. So, they say that compared because of all the hoopla around Kilpatrick. I get that.
Mhm.
But this administration, this mayor, if he didn't have the grace that he was extended by the media, that would have been another scandal. I mean, he had an affair, he was directing money, he admitted that he was steering contracts, and he said he lost sleep over it while Kwame Kilpatrick was in jail for 28 years. So, the media tends to package, a perception that people buy into. Like, this would have been a scandal if he had been anybody else, the very same thing. So, we did have one, it just didn't get the media attention.
Yeah. And do you think the media will treat the next mayor differently, whoever it is?
That too will depend. Now, is this gonna be the person that, Duggan is gonna be able to have some influence over, and he'll continue to use and leverage his influence with the media? Maybe. If not, you will see a difference. I mean, I've already seen a level of scrutiny of these candidates by the mainstream media that I didn't see for Duggan, which I think is
Mhm.
unfair. So people have to, think for themselves, ask questions. There have been a ton of forums. I know you, Sam Robinson, Detroit is different. You guys do a great job of just giving us the information. I don't feel like it's trying to steer us in any way. And people need to look at that. I mean, they really do because subjectivity is almost non-existent.
Somebody was telling me the other day they actually feel like Detroit voters are more informed than they had been. And we talk a lot about voter engagement and the low turnout rates of these elections. Does that resonate with you at all? Do you think people are more informed?
Well, and maybe that's why they don't vote because they know. I mean, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of voter apathy.
Mhm.
I believe, during the Kilpatrick era, he brought something to Detroiters that they had lost, and that was hope. He made them feel like they were capable of and entitled to more. And I think that after that, debacle, I think people just kind of threw up their hands and said, I don't know what to do anymore.
Mm,
And so I think that voter apathy, people have to feel energized or re-engaged. I also think even locally and at the national level, people have not seen a return on their investment of a vote. And so they kind of sit back and say, well, what difference does it make? What difference do I make? What difference does my vote make? And
mhm.
so I think in this election is an opportunity for some of the candidates to convince or show them, that this is a wise investment.
Can you give us a